Thank you. My name is Shawna Wells, and I'm a resident of West Warwick and an organizer for the Women's March Network of Rhode Island. On behalf of the almost 3,000 Rhode Island Women's March supporters, I urge you to pass Bill 274, the Reproductive Healthcare Act, and to also pass Bill 660 to repeal the Spousal Notice for Abortion Act. Humans, by virtue of being in their own unique bodies, have a fundamental right to autonomy over that body. The most basic, fundamental freedom there is self-determination. Men in Rhode Island and throughout the United States have complete autonomy over their reproductive decisions. Whether they choose to have children, whether they choose not to have children, whether they choose to protect themselves during sexual activity, or whether they choose not to protect themselves during sexual activity, no one is involved in those decisions except men and perhaps their doctors and perhaps their partners, but not always their partners. Women do not have the same rights. And any attempt to restrict, impede, delay, or influence a woman's right to make decisions about her own autonomous self is an attack on the most fundamental right there is, autonomy. Bill 274 seeks to protect this freedom for Rhode Island women, and Bill 660 would repeal the spousal notice for abortion law, which is unconstitutional and unenforceable. Independent research by Pew shows Rhode Islanders support access to safe and legal abortion by a 2-to-1 margin. And even though there's opposition to this bill, and even though they tell gross misstatements about abortion and the Abortion Reproductive Care Act, the Care Act is only codifying what's already in Roe. So Roe v. Wade is, the Reproductive Care Act is the exact same. It wouldn't make things worse in Rhode Island. It would just keep the status quo. Abortion is still legal in the US, but nobody knows for how long. Our current president and Congress say they want small government, but it's hard to believe them when they seem determined to involve themselves in the most intimate and personal decisions a woman can make. Rhode Islanders overwhelmingly support a woman's right to choose by 2-to-1. The purpose of state government is to enact the will of its residents. I most ardently ask you to pass these bills, which would codify women's legal right to abortion into Rhode Island law, safeguarding Rhode Island women's right to choose, regardless of what happens at the federal level. Thank you very much.